Don't forget, ko-fi.com/stopwritingalone is a real simple way to show your support for what's going on here week after week. Hi everyone, this is Nicole Rivera and you're listening to the Stop Writing Alone podcast for writers who are looking for their writing community. I know you want to find readers for your work, but I think your first step is to connect with other writers. That's what we're going to do here in the Stop Writing Alone podcast. We'll do writing prompts and other writing group activities, discover online writing communities, learn how to find local writing groups, or how to make your own. Join us as we explore, learn, and write. This week's episode of Stop Writing Alone is sponsored by the Creative Ways podcast. Host and long-term designer Emma Isaac's podcast features inspiring conversations with successful photographers, musicians, fashion designers, and more, who generously share tactical advice to motivate and educate creatives to stay on the path. Find it where you listen to your podcasts, and be sure to visit her website for a fun freebie at emmaisaacs.co.uk. And you can find that link in the show notes for today's episode. Hi, this is Nicole Rivera, and you're listening to the Stop Writing Alone podcast. In last week's episode 91 of the Stop Writing Alone podcast, we discussed picking your NaNoWriMo project. This week, I want to talk to you about how you're going to get that writing done and just a couple of tools that may help you along the way. Because whether you have your project picked out by November 1st or not, if you are committing yourself to the NaNoWriMo challenge, which is writing 50,000 words in 30 days, what you need is a commitment to get your butt in the chair, get the words on the page, and not let anything get in your way. And that's really like the first category of things that I want to talk about, and that's distractions. For me personally, my number one distraction when I'm writing is my cell phone. It's not all of the stuff that I could access while on my laptop. I'm, for some reason, like really good about that if I open up a doc, whether I'm writing in Google Docs or I open up Scrivener, which I use to write longer form things, I'm in that and I'm good. I don't need to like pop over to other websites or social media on my computer. And I think that's because I know I can do all those things on my phone. So, how do I save myself from that insanity? I think I've mentioned this app before on the podcast, but just in case I haven't, or you haven't taken action on it, and like now's the time and you're like me, you are a phone grabber, I need you to check out the Forest app. And that's Forest, just like, with all the trees, Forest. And you can get it on, I have an iPhone, so you can definitely get it on an iPhone, but I've also seen it in the Google Play Store. And it is adorable. All it is it's a timer, but you set it up that you are going to not pick up your phone and go to a different app for a certain amount of time. The smallest increment of time is 10 minutes, and I think you can go all the way up until 2 hours. And what happens in this app is that as you leave your phone alone, a little cartoon tree begins to grow. And you'll see it just start off as a baby seedling. And if you do happen to pick up your phone a little bit later during your time period, you'll see that it's growing. But if you pick up your phone and swipe away the Forest app and go to one of, whatever distraction is calling to you in that moment, you will kill your tree. And it's such a silly little thing. But what it does for me more than anything is it's a reminder, because I'm at the point, and I think many of us are, where I pick up my phone mindlessly. Like, I'm not even thinking like, oh, I'm going to stop what I'm doing now and pick up my phone and get distracted. It's just like, before I know it, I'm doing things on my phone and I say, wait, wasn't I writing? What is this? So when I pick up my phone and I see a little tree growing, you'll see like the timer counting down. It's like, oh, that's right. I made a commitment to myself that I was going to sit here for 45 minutes and just do this. And I put my phone back down, and that's all I need. It's just like a gentle nudge. This is incredible for any kind of productivity. I've done this for, getting stuff done around the house, obviously for writing and doing writing sprints, or even just getting things done in the Stop Writing Alone community. But I've even done it as for basic things like self-care. Like, Nicole, just go feed yourself a good meal. Give yourself a half hour to go like make something and not get distracted by anything else, and grow a tree. And what ends up happening is that over time, over the course of a day, you can plant multiple trees. Over the course of a week, you can keep planting trees, and you start to develop a forest. It's adorable. It's very simple accountability. There are ways to share with friends, and that's something that I'm just starting to explore now because I didn't realize that was there. And they have different types of trees, and the longer you sort of use the app, you earn coins and you can get new and different trees. But the app itself is a free app, and it's a great thing if you are a phone grabber like myself. Now, if you are the other type of distracted writer where you cannot resist on your computer going from one page to the next and opening up different things on your computer, there are some plugins for Chrome and for Firefox that may help you. So Chrome has something called Stay Focused, and Firefox has Leech Block. And both of these serve that same purpose, that you can block certain sites so that you don't spend time on them, or that you can limit the time. There's another application called Pause that will actually throw up a green screen in the middle of you using a certain website to sort of give you pause, to stop and think, do I really want to be here right now? So those are a couple for your desktop or laptop, if that is where you're finding your distractions. I can't speak to their functionality because this is not a thing that I have really struggled with myself, so they're not things that I need. So, but they come highly recommended all the time. Whenever this conversation comes up, I hear about these plugins, and I also hear about Freedom, which is a similar type of personal check on all of the sites that you're using and making sure that you stay focused on whatever task you want to accomplish for that moment. And in this conversation, that would be writing. Another thing that you can do is get completely off your computer. And while, many people will recommend like, oh, you can just handwrite, I'm of the mind, because I don't have a personal assistant that can do any transcription for me, that handwriting a novel and then thinking about typing it later is an ugly kind of nightmare. So what I have found, and these are incredibly popular in the writing world, so I'm sure you've heard about it already, is a product called the Alpha Smart. And I have one. I have the model called Neo. And all this is a very bare bones word processor, very light, battery operated. You just need AA batteries. They don't make them right now. You would have to seek out an older model, which is what I did. I bought my Neo Smart maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago off of Amazon. It cost me under $30. I'm thinking it might have even cost me under $20, but I'm not sure. Definitely want to say under $30. There are different models. There's one that's called a Dana, D-A-N-A, And the one that I have is a Neo, that's Neo. And it's really quite a fascinating piece of technology. It's a keyboard with a tiny screen on it. And you just type away, and your words get saved into a file on the little piece of tech. And then you plug it in with a USB cord to your laptop or your computer, and whatever you have typed will upload directly to a doc of some, whatever word processor you want to use on your computer, and that's that. But while you're doing writing, there's literally nothing else this thing can do except your words. You can't get over to social media. You can't go researching some question you have about your plot. It's the closest thing to handwriting there is, except you have the added benefit of it's already typed, and you don't have to worry about that later on. So I know many people are going to be using something just like this for NaNoWriMo. I'm thinking about it. Like I said, since the computer is not an enormous distraction for me, it's not necessarily something that I need to use to eliminate distractions. One of the reasons that I purchased one, or that I even love using it, is for portability. It is the lightest thing that I own. It is so light. And with my back issues and pain, it's really great to carry around when I need to go to like my Barnes & Noble and maybe I'm going to walk. I'd much rather carry that than my laptop. It doesn't require any power cords or anything like that, which is also a thing sometimes when you go into various cafes. Do you get the seat with the plug underneath it? Or, so with the AlphaSmart, it's not something you have to worry about at all. And the battery lasts for so long because it's such a basic piece of tech. So I love it. Right now, since I'm not really going anywhere, I'm not sure that I'll be using it, but I highly recommend it. And for the price, it's almost worth it just to get one to have, because it's not really going to break the bank in any way. Aside from distractions, there are these apps and websites out there that are really great at motivating you to write. Now, there's a great motivator embedded right into the NaNoWriMo site, and that is where you update your word counts every single day, and you see the graphs shifting, and Nano does the calculations for you and tells you, well, if you keep writing at this speed, you'll be done on such and such date, which has both ends of motivation. It has the negative reinforcement of, when you read, if you keep it up at this rate, you won't be done till January. That's a little bit of negative reinforcement. And then there's the positive reinforcement, like, oh, if you keep it up at this rate, you'll be done by tomorrow. You're like, whoa, I'm amazing. But outside of NaNoWriMo, there are two different sites that also hit either end of what kind of motivation works for you. Now, personally, I am a person that responds really well to positive reinforcement. I've realized this about myself over the years, that negative reinforcement not only doesn't work for me, it has the opposite effect. It's like if you are threatening some sort of punishment to me, or if I'm even threatening a punishment against myself, that throws up all kinds of blocks, and I become like this stubborn little child that's like, you know what, I'm not going to do it anyway, which is not helpful. But I know that not everyone is like me, and some people respond amazingly to negative reinforcement. If you are that person that the threat of a punishment or losing out on something is the thing that's going to drive you to really, really make sure you show up, you do the work, and you go, then if you haven't already, you need to check out Write or Die. And Write or Die is a website and a program that, as you type in it, you set up I want to write this many words in this time period. You set it up right in the program, and you begin to type. As soon as you begin typing, the timer starts ticking down. The program starts counting your words, And it is like a race. And as you get closer and closer to your created deadline, if you are not near your word count, your screen will start to turn red and just give you all types of stressful triggers that things are going to go bad. And depending on what level of consequence you select for yourself, this could be as strict or as punishing as your words disappearing. So the original iteration of Write or Die, I believe, if I remember correctly, because it's been around for a while, had only one speed, and that was you write fast enough or your words will start erasing behind you. Now there are levels, and you can have it just like with the red screen, with the sounds and everything like that. But it's all about, like, you will be punished if you don't keep up. And like I said, for many people that is very, very effective. For me, it stresses me out and it doesn't really work. But I'm going to put the link in the show notes if you want to check out Write or Die. Write or Die 2, the version 2, has like a trial right on the website. So that's the link I'll give to you so that you can give it a shot right there and see if it's something that is for you. On the opposite end of the motivational spectrum is something that definitely speaks to me, and that's for the words, and that's the number 4 and then the words spelled out. And that is more of a game that you do the same sort of situation where you set up, you decide like what kind of word count you want to do. And there are challenges within the game that say, if you can accomplish writing this many words in this amount of time, you will win the next level of the game. You will defeat this monster. You will gain this badge. And it's just like a fun sort of way to get your words in. And last week when I was talking about picking your project for NaNoWriMo, one of the things that I mentioned is that you need your project to be like delicious enough and exciting enough or interesting enough, something that is going to pull you back when the writing gets hard and when you're exhausted and when you're like, I'm over it. What I like about For the Words and this game that has nothing to do with what you are actually writing is that on those days when things are feeling terrible about the words that you're writing, that game could be the thing that gets you back to the page, because you're like, I don't really care about what I'm writing right now, but I really want to defeat this ogre. So I'm going to go get my butt in the chair and get some words just so I get to the next level in my game. And that is, like I said, the type of thing that speaks to me, because it's like every single time I write words, then I am getting rewarded. And it's rewarded in an abstract way, and it's just like a fun little thing. But sometimes that's all it takes. It just takes this little there's just like a little positive hug of, you did it, you showed up, and you get something for it. I love that, and that just works for me. So I wanted to tell you guys about that in case that is something that might work for you. The other new program that I found out about that I didn't know that really is something that speaks to me as, well, I'm calling myself now like a plantser. I realize that I've always considered myself a pantser, someone who sits down and just starts writing. But it has occurred to me that every time I've done that, I've had some sort of like skeleton idea of what I wanted my project to be. So I don't want to say never because I don't remember, but I don't think I've ever really gone in completely cold to a project. I've always had some sort of nebulous idea of what's going to happen. And I was reading an article on Reedsy, the Reedsy blog, about how to outline a novel. And what I love about this article, and I will definitely put the link in the show notes to that too. It's really just the name of the article is How to Outline a Book. But what I love about it is that they don't just give you the tip. When you look up how to outline a novel or you start researching it, it's typically story structure. And then they say, okay, using this story structure, here's what you're going to do, blah, blah, blah. And that speaks very closely to like one type of writer. This article was great because it really discussed the idea that we're not all the same when we show up to the page. There are people that are in love with plotting to every single little detail. There are people like me that like some sort of idea, but not, if I get too detailed in my plot, I'm not going to be as excited about showing up to my page, which sounds like a childish thing, but it's facts. Like, that's just who I am. There are people that show up completely cold or very, very close to that. And there's just like all different ways that you can write. You can write in order. You can write scenes all over the place. Anyway, so this article addresses all the different, well, not all the different ways, but a number of different ways that you can show up as a writer and how outlining can be different for each of these people. And then they provided various tools for writers, depending on what speaks most closely to their style. And one of the tools that I had never heard of before was Coggle. That's Coggle. And this was a cool mind mapping tool, which is, really great for people that are more on the pantser side, maybe don't want like a very strict sort of outline, but have like these ideas of things that they just want to have included. So you could just start with a major topic and you just sort of branch off, just, a typical mind map. And it's a cool little free app online. You can collaborate with other people on there, kind of like you do in a Google Docs, where you can just share your Coggle with someone else, and then they can come in and take a look at it or even edit it. So I thought that was a really, really cool program. They also spoke about a couple of different things like Scrivener, as I think many people are familiar with, is a word processing tool that is made specifically for writers. So there's just so many various ways that you can use Scrivener to help you with plotting, to help you with organizing your novel, can help you with compiling your novel when it comes time to publish. I do use Scrivener, but I know that I don't use it fully, to using all of the things that it offers up. There are also like mobile apps from the company that makes Scrivener now. They have another program called Scrapple, and these are all things that I haven't even begun to explore. But yeah, I'm going to put that article in there for you so that you can maybe read through, decide what kind of writer are you, which of these tools speak to you. But these are just a couple of things that I wanted to share with you this week. Again, I'm going to come back to the Forest app and say, if you have not downloaded that one, you really need to get on it. It's, I don't know, for me, it's just so awesome. It kind of like releases me from this weird inner obligation, which is probably addiction to that I need to like pick up my phone. It's like, oh no. I have a tree growing in my phone right now. I'm not going to touch it for this moment. So those are some of the things that I will be doing in November. I will have my Forest app going. I will be in For the Words. I'm going to play around with Coggle at the end of October now to see where my novel sort of is going. And I'll definitely be using Scrivener for my drafting of my novel. But before I go this week, I do want to ask you a question, and you can either respond to me on sending me an email at stopwritingalone@gmail.com, or reaching out to me on the Facebook page or Facebook group, I should say, Stop Writing Alone with Nicole Rivera, or DM me either on Facebook or Instagram at Stop Writing Alone. And here's my question. November's coming, and if you are planning on doing NaNoWriMo, what can I do to help you out? Would it be helpful in this purview of the podcast to have a couple of bonus episodes that are writing sprints for you, sort of audible writing sprints, so that you can just sort of press play and have your either like the model that I do in the Happy Campers Club of 5 minutes and 15 minutes. So 5 minutes of just like pep talks, motivation, let's get on this. And then 15 minutes of, some sort of white noise or calming music to write through, and then back again with 5 minutes and then 15 minutes of writing. Is there some sort of collaboration or connection that you would like to see happening in the Facebook group? Will prompts or role-playing with your characters be something that you'd be interested in? This or any other ideas, I'd love to hear from you. I've been asking on the Facebook group. I have asked the Happy Campers what they will need specifically during the month of November and how we are going to design the month to best serve us. But I also want to know here, while we're going through the month, for those of you that are novel writers and making this commitment to yourself and your writing, how can I help you get past that finish line while you're doing that? So reach out to me, let me know what it is. If you have any ideas of what I can do for you, would it make more sense to have something on the YouTube page? Because don't forget, the NV Rivera YouTube channel is where I am currently. There's only 2 things going on the YouTube page, and that is every single week the podcast episode gets uploaded there if you would like to listen on YouTube. That's Thursday mornings. And then on Friday, I share a writing prompt with the intention that you would write a short story, because we are trying to write 52 short stories in 52 weeks. But if you would appreciate or benefit from some sort of addition for NaNoWriMo, please let me know. That would be something I would be more than happy to share with you and the community. But that is it for now for this week. We have one more week before we get really rolling with this huge project. So I wish you the best of luck with your prep if that is something that you are intensely working on. Otherwise, I wish you luck with your last moments of relaxation. Stretch out those fingers. It's coming soon. You will be writing a lot. And for my poets out there, if you have been doing NaNoWriMo this month, congratulations. You are almost through. I know Morgan Dragon Willow has been posting her prompts every single day. If you have been missing out, you can just head on over to her website and you will see all of the prompts from the month and share and connect with the community there. That is all. Have a wonderful week. As always, thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, I would love a rating and review of the Stop Writing Alone podcast wherever you listen to this podcast. That helps other writers find the podcast and ultimately find you so that you can stop writing alone. Have a wonderful week. I will talk to you next Thursday. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the Stop Writing Alone podcast wherever you're listening to this episode today. Then connect with us on Facebook at Stop Writing Alone Facebook page, or in the Stop Writing Alone with Nicole Rivera Facebook group. Check Instagram or Twitter, where I'm at NV_Rivera, to find links to our email newsletter. Recording, hosting, editing, producing. It's so much work. Disaster has struck. I finished my coffee. Tell me coffee is coming. ko-fi.com/stop writing alone.